Let's talk about professional services and what Twenty5 does for professional services. Let's talk about the problem that customers are facing right now in this space. The main challenge people have is that their business models have evolved or are evolving. And the reason for that is that there's a trend toward moving towards outcome-based models, where in essence the customer is paying for what they get as an outcome versus paying for, oh, I had 200 hours worth of your consultant being in my office. And because that whole change, it's everything as a service or outcome-based pricing or value-based pricing, there's a whole bunch of names for roughly the same thing. That implication of that is that the risk of the difference between cost and price, the risk of that model shifts over from the customer to yourself. If you think it's going to take 100 and it ends up taking 400 hours, now you're in the hole. You're the one losing money. So you have to be responsible to figure out how am I going to price these things. And that becomes a lot more critical. Now if you look at the technology people have, it has not kept up with this new business model, because in the old world it was acceptable to have an Excel spreadsheet, build a resource plan in an Excel spreadsheet and say, dear customers, here's how many people we're going to have and this is how much they're going to spend in your office to doing work. Now it's different. The Excel spreadsheet has some very, very obvious disadvantages. Well, it just lives on somebody's laptop somewhere, best case in a SharePoint site somewhere. And this is where you have a very big trend of how the business model has evolved, but the technology solution to support that business model has lagged behind. And this is where Twenty5 can help. So Twenty5 comes in and says, as a basic premise, we need to have a single source of truth. Every time you put out a proposal to a new client, it needs to be stored in a central database. Because fundamentally, we believe that that data is incredibly valuable to you as an organization. You need to be able to take advantage of that, so every time you go put a new proposal out the door, you learn from all the prior work that you've done in the past. Because if you know everything that you proposed and everything that you've delivered and you combine all that knowledge, imagine how much better you can be at proposing new work in the future. And ultimately what we want is that at that key moment in time where you're trying to make a decision for the client of how much am I going to price this service out, you need to have the best possible understanding of what does it take to deliver this project. The more equipped and confident you are in terms of actually what it's going to take to deliver this engagement, the better you can be in terms of pricing it. So that's what we try to help with. We help to establish that foundation. We help you to reuse and learn from prior engagement. We help you establish best practices for these are the specific kind of engagement that we typically deliver. And we help you get to that point where you feel really, really confident that you're putting your best foot forward of what it's going to take to deliver that. And there's another aspect to that, which is on the one side, understanding what it takes to deliver, but then there's also the element of the outside in, what's the customer actually willing to pay. You think of that as price optimization. Based on the value that I'm delivering, how do I optimally price that opportunity? So that's where we believe also artificial intelligence can bring in a lot of value, to set the right price for the right piece of value that you're delivering. So ultimately, price is largely based on 3 different dimensions. It's based on what does it cost to deliver, what is the value to the client, and the third part of that is your competition in the market itself. But when you understand all these pieces really well, you can then help derive the right price. And our goal as a company is very simple. Our goal is to actually help you increase your profit margins by 1 to 3% at least. So we believe that going from this spreadsheet-based model to moving into what the new world that we think we can offer, you can increase incredible top-line value for that.